Hello guys, this is student meteorologist Chandler Pruitt. As you can see, we have a nice blue sky. Sun is trying to set over Doak, but that'll be in the next hour. Beautiful conditions though. Currently 77 degrees, partly cloudy, with winds coming out of the south at 11 miles per hour. And then looking at that radar, we can see some clouds off the Gulf Coast and some rainy showers up to our north. But in the bigger picture, we can see some extremely strong storms across Mississippi and Alabama. We'll talk about that tonight. This is a big severe weather outbreak that's ongoing. And then tonight we'll talk about, we'll see temperatures about 67 degrees, mostly cloudy as that front moves in for us, and winds will be out of the south between 7 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow we'll see rain showers, especially in the morning, with temperatures reaching about 78 degrees. So again, pretty warm and muggy conditions. Also pretty severe as well. We'll talk about the severe weather tomorrow and the cooler temperatures that return, as well as a live look at the tornado outbreak that's ongoing. All that and more on FSU Weather, which starts now.
Potentially historic day in the making this St. Patrick's Day. Good evening, everyone. I'm student meteorologist Zach Richards.
And I'm student meteorologist Robert Zell. Right now we are following one of the worst severe weather outbreaks we have potentially seen in years right now, right over Alabama, Mississippi, and even Louisiana right now. We're watching a line of storms coming in from the east that could produce tornadoes and mini supercells in Alabama and Mississippi that are producing quite a few tornadoes right now.
Absolutely, and you know, this is the first time in a while we've seen a high-risk designation by the Storm Prediction Center. It hasn't happened since 2019 anywhere in the country, and hasn't happened for several years in the southeast. All this severe weather, of course, is going to be moving to the east and will be affecting our area early morning tomorrow into the morning tomorrow, and then moving farther east to the Carolinas potentially by this time tomorrow.
Right, we have a slight risk for us here in Tallahassee of seeing maybe some large hail, damaging winds, and a tornado or two. But again, the major area of the severe weather outbreak is not really here in the city. It's in Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana tonight. And into tomorrow, we're watching the Carolinas and Georgia for, again, another severe weather outbreak. So this is a multi-day event that we're watching, and basically everyone in the southeast is going to need to stay prepared. A tornado could pop up almost anywhere, so make sure you are tuned to either FSU Weather or another source to keep you updated throughout the day.
Absolutely. Have some way to get your warnings. We're going to talk tonight a little bit more about weather preparedness and also giving you a highlight of where some of those warnings might be. But now we're going to head off to the wall. We're going to take a look at our local weather, kind of start things off, and then zoom out to our big picture.
Thanks, guys. Well, actually, Zach, we're just going to jump right into it and start with the southeast, where much of the weather and severe weather is happening right now. Looking at some of our cameras that we have across the southeast, majority of them already are seeing overcast skies, except for Gainesville, Florida, of course, down there with those gators. But we're going to see the majority of these cameras turn into cloudy skies as that front continues to move in tomorrow. Now, right now, the storm line has not passed through just yet for most of the southeast. It's situated about right here. So as the time goes on, we're going to start seeing these temperatures drop. But right now, mid-70s for most of the area, and even 86 down in Orlando, and 80s for the Sunshine State for all of you guys who are on spring break right now. Might not feel too good outside right though, because we have these dew temperatures very, very warm right now, peaking at, for our map tonight, 69 degrees for New Orleans. And those are going to continue to stay in the higher range as that front is passing through today and into tomorrow. Now, the exciting thing about what we're talking about this evening is our satellite and radar depicting the strong line of storms that is moving across the southeast. Right now, situated over Louisiana, slowly moving its way across the southeast. Right now in Alabama, we have 3 confirmed tornadoes from all of these little spotty cells that you see across the state, and that's going to continue well into tonight. And all of these shaded areas that are yellow zooming into Louisiana right now, severe thunderstorm warnings. We also have multiple tornado warnings, multiple tornado watches, and that's going to continue well into the evening, so make sure to be prepared. We will be covering it for the rest of the show tonight. Moving things up a little bit north, we're not staying just in the southeast. Parts of southeastern Missouri are also being affected by this storm. Going over to Illinois, Tennessee, even parts of Kentucky, all are going to be seeing parts of the storm come into the area, with all being in a slight risk at least for severe weather. Now, these are some of the colors that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Yellow is depicting severe thunderstorm warnings. All of these reds that you're seeing across, especially in Alabama, just next to Birmingham, these are tornado warnings. These are where a lot of our confirmed tornadoes are right now. All of this system is going to be moving its way east, and so we'll start seeing all of these colors shift east as well to keep up with the severe weather in the area. Another look at the radar right now, we're seeing this move quite quickly. We're looking at Thursday tomorrow at about 6 p.m. It should be across the Panhandle and it's making its way out into the Atlantic Ocean. But this is going to definitely be an area to watch over the next few hours. And we're going to see that continue on and give us a nice, cool weekend ahead. Now, if we look into the SPC Storm Outlook, this light pink right here is what you see. It does not get issued very often. It is a high risk, and that is why we're seeing all of that severe weather. But for tonight, our low temperatures, 66 degrees right now for Tallahassee. We're going to see those temperatures drop as the severe line continues to move through. And all of our temperatures for tomorrow, pretty much what we're seeing right now is highs in the high 50s, and then as you get into the coast of Florida, we're going to see those increase into the 80s. Passing things off now to Zach for a first look at the local.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. You know, one of the strange things about weather is if you weren't a meteorologist, you weren't looking at the radar, you would have no clue that there was a severe weather outbreak happening right now. It's been a beautiful day here in Tallahassee. We've had some of those low clouds clear out. The skies are beautiful. That sun is shining brightly out there. 77 degrees. It says partly cloudy. We have no clouds in our shot right now, but those southeasterly winds, you probably really felt that humidity coming up from the south today. Notably more humid than it has been. Satellite and radar right now, there are no clouds really to be seen. A couple high clouds maybe. This is a little bit of ground clutter, but overall, just a few light scattered storms as we get up there towards Dothan, only any indication that something is wrong. Zooming out, however, how much more wrong you could be. Major severe weather outbreak right here. We're going to get to that here in just a bit. Atlanta and northward, mainly looking at rain, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder. But central and southern Alabama tonight, generally moving into central and southern Georgia tomorrow, that's where the main threat will be. And we can't rule out a couple of severe thunderstorms here as well. Temperatures right now, though, a little bit cooler. We have a little bit of that sea breeze influence right now, 77 in Tallahassee, but much warmer, 85 right now in Bainbridge, where, you know, the storms haven't gotten to you yet, but neither has that maritime air. Dew points, though, there you can see the moisture, 63 right now in Tallahassee and 70 down there in Apalachicola. So the muggy, humid Florida that we're used to is finally on its return. Once again, there are those south winds right around 10 to 15 miles an hour around the Big Bend. Now, the next 24 hours or so, going to see some of those light showers start to come in by tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. You're heading off your way to work. There, that line starts to blow through. So it's slowed down a little bit. We're talking sometime around your mid-afternoon tomorrow, probably before that line comes in, and then around 24 hours or so from now, line completely pushes through out of the way. Now, our 3-day forecast here for Tally, got some scattered storms tomorrow, some of which could be severe. If we get through that, Friday and Saturday, much cooler but much drier, an excellent time to get outside or do whatever you have to do. Our week ahead, we have 90%. This is going to happen. This is a 100% chance, basically, of showers and thunderstorms for at least a couple of hours tomorrow. 78, then we kind of taper off back from the 70s, 67, and then 61, bouncing back up to 67 by Sunday, but basically no chance of rain, which is excellent news. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, however, that cool spell really starts to end. We start to warm back up, and most likely we'll get back to near 80 by this time next week. All right, we're going to pass things off to the desk now with Maddie and Chandler.
Thanks, Zach. Well, common theme for the show tonight is the severe weather that we've been experiencing. Chandler and I are going to be talking about all of the watches and warnings that are being issued right now. Chandler, listen to these numbers. Right now we have 10 tornado watches and 51 tornado warnings.
That's right. Over the course of the day, we've seen so many tornado warnings stretching from Louisiana, Mississippi, and parts of Alabama, especially parts of Alabama.
Right.
We've seen even in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, they have been under some very serious situations.
Right, and this is a very long-lasting storm. So all of these watches and warnings that were issued earlier today are now being renewed for another 12 hours or so. This line of storms is going to be affecting the area well into the evening.
That's right, yes, and it's a very dangerous situation, especially once you talk about getting towards those nighttime hours. Nighttime storms are probably the biggest nightmare that meteorologists have for the public safety, because you can't really see tornadoes coming. You can't see them whenever they're embedded in these storms anyway.
Right.
But once you add nighttime cover, man, it gets dangerous.
It just adds on to the top of one of the precaution that we're all trying to say. I know here in the studio we've been tracking these storms all day to make you all aware of what we're going to be experiencing. So when you hear your local meteorologist say we're in a tornado warning, a tornado watch, make sure to take heed and take precaution. What are some of the differences between watches and warnings that people should look out for?
Yeah, so a watch, well, I'm from North Carolina, and one of my favorite meteorologists, the way he describes it is a watch is like you have all the ingredients for a cupcake. A warning is when all the ingredients have been put together and the cupcake is baking. So you're basically ingredients versus actual reality. So once you see a warning, you can assure yourself that there is actually a tornado on the ground.
That's a great way to put it. I'll have to use that from now on. But keep in mind, like Taylor said, a watch, you have all the ingredients. It might not be there, but still make sure to take heed and take warning, because at any moment that cupcake could bake and you could be in a warning.
Exactly, yes. And so especially once we go into tonight, as this squall line pushes through for parts of Mississippi, Alabama, even here into Florida and Georgia tomorrow, we just need to take precautions, because with this line of storms, it'll be pretty quick spin-ups and pretty dangerous conditions.
Exactly. All of these little cells that are popping up are moving into areas of more favorable conditions. So it could only be a matter of hours before another tornado is produced. We're going to take a look at the national right now with Robert over on the wall.
Right, thank you, Maddie and Chandler. Of course, we have a massive situation developing in the southeast. It's basically our worst case scenario right now, but we also do have a lot of weather to look at in the entire national. Fairly nice for you guys in the plains in 40s and 30s right now. A little bit warmer as you go towards the southeast, where you guys are in the 70s, which is really helping to produce those tornadoes right now, because you need those warmer conditions to be able to induce convection. And of course, a little bit warmer as you go down towards San Antonio and Miami, which are 79 and 80 respectively. So we're looking at a fairly warm situation here, and also not too bad for us on the dew points, except again in the southeast. Dry for most of us from coast to coast, about in the 30s, but we're seeing almost 60 to 70 dew points, a lot wetter than we usually see in this area at this time of year. And that's what's really helping to produce those storms, because you need these dew points to produce that moisture and really help these storms sort of get in motion. Satellite radar across most of the nation, the story is high pressures, keeping us from really seeing much. But again, right here, this low pressure, this upper level low down here is really helping move through the region and produce this system down here associated with this cold front and this stationary front that's keeping the right perfect conditions. Like Chandler said earlier, the perfect recipe for this cupcake down here. With all these storms coming down here, we have everything we need, and this is very unfortunate, because we never like to see this happen. This is probably a once in a few years sort of severe weather situation developing right now in the southeast, and we never really like to see this happen. So right now we're looking at, again, a few showers and thunderstorms, maybe transitioning to a little bit of mixed precipitation towards maybe areas like Madison, Wisconsin, and Chicago. You might be seeing a little more of a cold rain, but not too bad conditions for you guys. It's mostly in the 40s and 30s for you guys. In Texas, we're seeing not too bad, clear conditions, a few showers and thunderstorms as you go into areas of Oklahoma, maybe associated with a little bit of snow mixing in with that too. We are seeing a tornado watch here actually in effect. Not to neglect you guys in Oklahoma actually, because you are seeing a little bit of a severe weather outbreak there too, associated with the same system. Of course, the main line, which I'm about to get to in a second, is in the southeast, but you guys are still seeing a few showers and thunderstorms bubbling up that could have the right ingredients and mixture to produce some tornadoes. So make sure you have your alerts on for the entire situation throughout the night tonight. But I cannot stress enough again that this is basically our worst case scenario. We usually predict stuff a few days out, and we're hoping maybe it will bust, maybe it won't happen. Unfortunately, this is the worst case scenario. What is happening right now? We have many tornadoes on the ground right now, and warnings for tornadoes that could be potentially on the ground. With these storms out here, which are sort of your supercellular storms, these are probably some of the most favorable for tornado production. This line out here is going to be another one that we're watching coming into the region late into the night, could produce some more tornadoes with it. QLCS, quasi-linear convective system tornadoes is what we call those. Might be a little more rain-wrapped and harder to see, but again, these are tornadoes that we could see throughout the night tonight. Watches and warnings, we can see quite a litany of tornado warnings here as we go into Mississippi and Alabama. this whole area, basically, you need to be under watch to go into ground whenever a tornado warning is issued. As we said earlier on our cast, if there is a situation in which you think there's a tornado, go down immediately. Do not wait for us to tell you. But of course, this is the outlook. We're looking at fairly nice temperatures here tonight, looking at 20s for most of the region and 40s for you guys. And as we move into tomorrow, also fairly nice here, nice in the 70s for most of us in the region. So right now, I'm going to pass things off to Elizabeth with more of our weather.
Yes, thank you, Robert. Absolutely much of a different story here in Tallahassee. We are supposed to be looking at our live look. Oh, we passed our live look over Doak Campbell Stadium, but we're going to have a beautiful sunset tonight. And currently we're sitting about in the high 70s. Our high, we reached 83 today, and our low was 70. Much, much warmer than average. Not actually too far from our record high temperature of 89 in 2015. So very, very warm today as we see this thunderstorm system move in, and we're seeing many more clouds. Currently, our radar over Tallahassee, not too much happening over here, just a little bit of a pop-up shower right there, but we will be seeing much more activity going into tomorrow. Again, here's that super strong storm system over Alabama and Mississippi right now. Make sure you are taking precautions. Trust those warnings because they are there to keep you safe. Currently, lots and lots of red over here and mostly sunny today, 77 here in Tallahassee. Up in the low to mid 80s in southern Georgia, 74 and cloudy in Apalachicola as we are seeing those storms roll in. Very, very moist, especially at the coast as we're seeing that wind bring warm, warm air into our area, 70 in Apalachicola, 60s and upper 50s in southern Georgia. Our next 24 hours, again, here is the storm system. It'll still be impacting Alabama tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., so be prepared for that. And we will not be seeing our thunderstorms until the morning and going into the afternoon, but by this time tomorrow, we will be clear and starting to see those cooler temperatures. Tonight's forecast, a little more on the mild side, 66 in Tallahassee, and pretty much mid to upper 60s across the Big Bend region. Tomorrow, as you can see, all of this thunderstorm, that's going to be the main idea of tomorrow. Again, very mild and warm temperatures, 70s, high 70s across the board as well. Marine forecast today or tomorrow is not the best day to be going out on the water. Thunderstorms are definitely going to be expected, but it is a beautiful 72, but that doesn't mean that you should go out. It is still very dangerous, a light chop, 1 to 2 feet on the seas, and winds coming out of the south at 15 to 20 knots. So after we see those thunderstorms tomorrow, on Friday and into the weekend, we'll be seeing cooler temperatures, and we're going to be warming up and be almost at 80 by this time next week. I'm going to be passing it on to Zach to talk more about our severe weather.
Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. You know, we like to have fun here on FSU Weather, and as meteorologists, we live for days like today, but we also dread days like today. Things, you know, this could be, like we've said a couple of times now, a record-breaking historic event. This will very likely be called the St. Patrick's Day event of 2021. We have 4 unconfirmed on-the-ground tornadoes right now. Let's go ahead and zoom right into it. We basically have 2 areas we need to watch right now. All of these discrete storms right now primarily happening in Alabama. Now these storms, you're kind of going to see the edges of them. There's some cloud cover, but there's still some peaks of sun in there as well. This atmosphere is still getting more unstable, and it's going to be better even as we get into the overnight hours for these storms, and that is really scary from a meteorological perspective. We also have this line of storms right here that we expect to kind of coagulate. They're going to form together, but there could still be embedded little pockets of rotation with some thunderstorm chances. Let's go to some warnings right now. Here just south of Birmingham, between Birmingham and Montgomery, we have 2 storms right here. See the little hook? See the little hook curve shape to the storms? Any storm that kind of looks like that, and you have a little rotation, it looks like it's spinning around, that's called a supercell. And supercells are the primary ways that thunderstorms originate. Down toward Tuscaloosa, you guys had a confirmed tornado today near there. Birmingham, thankfully the storms have slid off to your north, but we also had a confirmed tornado just west of Birmingham today. Of course, here's a closer look at that line. Over towards Jackson right now, it primarily looks like heavy rain. But just south of there, you're I-55. If you're on I-55 right now, you are having a heck of a drive. Probably just better pull over, pull off somewhere, find a truck stop or a Walmart, just find somewhere safe to park, get out of the way. Thankfully, no tornado warnings right now associated directly with this line. But if you're starting to see these little almost bow echo shapes, the backward C shapes, that's indicating we could also be potentially having a damaging wind event with this setup. Also, we have a couple of severe weather chances up here in eastern Oklahoma, western Missouri. A little bit detached from the other warning, but yeah, little tornado warning there just to the southeast of Springfield. Now the Cape is your convective available potential energy. The energy for these storms, right between Jackson, Birmingham, anywhere in the red shading. The green is our high moisture content. There's plenty of both, basically idea. We also want to highlight a PDS tornado watch. That stands for particularly dangerous situation. It means a whole lot of things are going on right now that the atmosphere is all kind of coming together. Finally, rainfall outlook could see some flooding as well with these storms. It's not our only threat is the tornadoes and the damaging winds. Chandler's going to take a look at Florida, though. Not quite as severe right now.
Not at all. Actually, we are actually living up to our name of being the Sunshine State. You can see sunshine across all the areas in Florida. You can see temperatures ranging from the 70s and the upper northern part of Florida to the 80s once you get into the central and south Florida regions. And looking at those dew points, well, we have pretty high moisture content over here in Pensacola, and it pretty much persists throughout most of Florida. So we can see 60s for the most part in all of the Florida region. Looking at that radar, though, we are clear. Absolutely nothing in sight. This is a beautiful condition in stark contrast to our northern neighbors. So we get to at least enjoy these beautiful conditions. Here in South Florida, you can see, again, pretty clear conditions. Looking at Miami, you guys will get up to 85 tomorrow, and you'll coast back down to about 78 on Saturday once that cold front sweeps through. Looking at Central Florida, again, very beautiful conditions, stark contrast to the severe weather going on in Alabama and Mississippi. And looking towards the Tampa Bay region, we can see that they will also drop off once that cold front gets here. Well, they'll go from 81 as a high tomorrow to 70 on Friday and 71 on Saturday. So again, beautiful conditions. And looking at Orlando, again, peaking at 90 tomorrow. So we'll break 90 potentially in Orlando, but then we'll slope back down to about the 70s on Friday and Saturday once that cold front sweeps through. And then looking at North Florida, we will see conditions looking pretty clear. Basically some showers maybe off the coast, but again, beautiful conditions for Jacksonville. And looking towards what they're going to expect over the next 3 days, again, 84 as their high tomorrow, and then that cold front sweeps through, and they actually look like they might stay around the 50s on Saturday. So again, enjoyable conditions for most of Florida. And looking at Pensacola and this region, well, you can see that they are getting slightly in on the storm action. Some storms over close to Mobile and making their way closer to the Panhandle. That will mean a little bit of severe weather potentially tonight and into tomorrow. And looking at their highs for the next 3 days, again, in the 60s for the most part. So again, enjoyable conditions, beautiful conditions once that cold front sweeps through. And looking at the lows for tonight, well, we'll see some lower temperatures in North Florida in the 40s and 50s, but we will only get down into the 60s for most of the rest of Florida. And tomorrow, same rinse and repeat, very warm conditions. Now I'm going to pass things off to Maddie to talk about our local again.
Awesome. Thank you, Chandler. Yes, we're going to bring things in more locally, and we're going to be talking about specifically what we're going to be seeing here in the Panhandle. Now, before that cold front moves in, we are going to be experiencing some similar conditions from what we've been seeing the past few days before those clouds start moving into the area later tonight and into tomorrow morning. We'll wake up and it'll be an overcast sky, much different than what we're seeing right now over Doak Campbell Stadium. Our current conditions right now, 77, carbon copy of what we've been seeing, partly cloudy conditions, a nice breeze coming out of the southeast, keeping things a little bit cooler and a little bit easier to kind of withstand as we start seeing those summer temperatures start to creep in. Across much of the Big Bend region, we're seeing 80s up in Bainbridge, 80s in Quincy, and that's going to change as that front moves in tomorrow. These dew points, though, is what are making things a little bit more uncomfortable than what we've been seeing the past few days. Really, really moist down at the coast in Apalachicola, 70 degrees, and pretty similar up here in the capital city, 63 for us here in Tallahassee and 69 down in Perry. Now, before that front moves in, we're still seeing the effects of that high pressure system that's situated over the Gulf of Mexico right now, which is why we're seeing that southerly flow come up and bring those dew points up. It's bringing in a lot of moisture. Right now, we're at 12 miles per hour out of the south, Donaldsonville, about 14, so a nice breeze in the area. Now, we've mentioned a little bit before, while we might seem pretty calm right now, despite some ground clutter maybe towards the radar, that's all going to change over the next few hours as the front continues to move into the Panhandle and further east in the southeast area. But that's going to change. Right now, satellite and radar, we do see this evening some clouds coming in across the coast. That's just going to give us a nice sunset today. Nothing too much to worry about. But when we zoom out to the national picture, this is what we've been talking about for most of the evening, is that system, this historical system, I might add, that's been moving across the southeast, right now situated over Mississippi and Alabama specifically. And we're going to see that tomorrow. All of it's starting to move in around 6:30 a.m. just as you're getting up ready to go to work, starting class. That's when the rain's going to start. Be prepared. Bring an umbrella if you're planning on going out tomorrow. And then as we continue, it's a very fast-moving storm. It'll be out of the area by 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Tonight, 67 degrees. Enjoy the last bit of dry weather while we have it. Winds are starting to pick up out of the south, about 7 to 15 miles per hour. We've got a little bit of wiggle room there. And tomorrow is the main area of interest. Thunderstorms throughout the entire day, potential for severe. We're in a slight risk, meaning we have a 2 out of 5 chance of seeing severe weather tomorrow. And with the week ahead, despite what we might be seeing tomorrow, we've got cool temperatures coming our way. Different than what we've been seeing. It'll be welcomed here. We're going to see those lows dip into the 40s as well. But once again, watch out for tomorrow. We're going to send things over to the desk. Robert, I know you've been watching the severe weather. What do you think about it?
Right, thank you, Maddie. Of course, like we've said, is a potentially record-breaking day, and actually a little bit of a sobering statistic. Since the start of our broadcast tonight, 6 tornado warnings have been issued across the area that is in the high risk. So we've been watching this throughout the day. I mean, it's an absolutely stunning day to see.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm sure if I have my numbers correctly, we've seen at least over 50 warnings throughout this whole time that this storm has been in. So definitely a potentially dangerous situation for those folks over in Alabama and Mississippi. And hopefully we don't have it as bad tomorrow, but there's definitely still that chance.
Right, exactly. We're watching actually as we go into tomorrow. You can see on our week ahead here for Thursday, a 90% chance of showers and storms. We have a slight risk here in Tallahassee. So we could actually see maybe a storm that's producing large hail, maybe a tornado or two. So you're going to make sure you know where to go for a tornado, the interior room or a tornado shelter if you have them, but lowest interior room, and you have a no weather radio and your phone with alerts on tomorrow. Make sure you have those just in case. And we're also looking for the Carolinas for another extension of the outbreak. We're watching. Make sure you follow us on Twitter for FSU Weather. Like us on Facebook with facebook.com/FSU Weather. And also make sure to watch us live on YouTube, FSU Weather, every night at 6 p.m. And also watch us on Instagram at FSU Weather. I'd also like to mention that after our broadcast, we will be continuing our live severe weather coverage a little bit after the end of this broadcast. So if you'd like to stay updated with the situation, we will be continuing to follow it throughout the night tonight. So continue to stay here, and we'll go live again in about an hour. I'm Robert Zott, and thank you for tuning into tonight's edition of FSU Weather.
Yes, I'm student meteorologist Elizabeth Temple.
And have a good night.